I didn't cry when I found the box of emergency contraceptives in my husband's car. I calmly replaced the pills with folic acid. 2 months later, my best friend came to me, weeping uncontrollably, saying she was accidentally pregnant. I looked at her, then at my husband standing awkwardly beside her. I knew the pregnancy drama I had personally directed had begun. The stale air in the car, mixed with the scent of his usual cedarwood cologne, made my stomach churn. Today was our third wedding anniversary. I had purposely ended my afternoon meeting early and taken a detour to pick up the watch he had mentioned wanting 2 months ago. It was supposed to be a carefully planned surprise, but when I opened his glove compartment under the pretext of retrieving a forgotten document, that surprise instantly solidified into a cold lump of iron, crashing heavily into my heart. A glaring blue medicine box, emergency contraceptives. Under the box lay a crumpled receipt from the hot spring resort on the outskirts of the city that we had visited last month. My mind went blank for a moment. Then countless details I had deliberately ignored rushed into my brain like a surging tide. During that hot spring trip, my best friend Chloe also happened to be there for a team-building event. She had smiled brightly at me and said, "Melanie, I won't disturb your alone time with Ryan. I'll get my own room so you two can relax." Thinking back now, that thoughtfulness was laughably ironic. And for the past 2 months, every time Ryan came home, he carried a lingering exhaustion. I thought it was due to busy company business and even made various soups to boost his energy. When his eyes dodged mine as he drank the soup, I assumed he was just appreciative of my hard work. Now, everything had an answer. I didn't scream, didn't break down, didn't even shed a tear. Tears are the weapon of the weak, and from this moment on, I could no longer be weak. I put the medicine box and receipt back in their original places and gently closed the glove compartment, my movements so steady they felt foreign even to me. Back home, I didn't expose his so-called overtime. Instead, I prepared dinner as usual. After dinner, I used a walk as an excuse to drive to the nearest pharmacy. "Hello, please give me a box of folic acid from this brand." I also bought a box of emergency contraceptives, identical to the one in his car. Returning to the empty study, I locked the door. Under the desk lamp, I put on medical gloves. Using fine tweezers, I carefully pried open the foil packaging of the contraceptives and removed the white pills. Then I opened the folic acid packaging and one by one precisely refilled the slots with folic acid tablets that were almost identical in color and size. Throughout the process, my hands didn't tremble. I was like a surgeon performing a delicate operation, calm, focused, with only cold hatred remaining in my heart. After finishing everything, I flushed the real contraceptives down the toilet, watching them disappear into the vortex. Early the next morning, while Ryan was washing up, I unknowingly returned the processed box of pills to his glove compartment. For the next 2 months, I lived as a perfect actress. I was gentler and more considerate than ever. I would have his slippers ready when he came home from work and massage his shoulders when he was tired. I even actively brought up the topic of preparing for pregnancy. "Ryan, we've been married for 3 years, and our parents are pushing us. Should we think about having a baby?" Every time his eyes would dodge, and he would vaguely put it off with excuses about critical company projects and too much pressure. And my good best friend, Chloe, played her part to the extreme. She often insinuated in front of me, "Melanie, you are so lucky. Ryan is so capable and cares so much about the family." But men, are career-oriented and under a lot of pressure. You have to be more understanding and not pressure him too much about having children. Her innocent face was written all over with "thinking for me." Now it seemed every inch of her expression was filled with nauseating showing off and probing. I played along with their performance, but in my heart, I was calmly counting down. Finally, on the first day of the 3rd month, Chloe asked me to meet at our usual cafe. Her face was pale, her eyes red and swollen. The moment she saw me, tears fell like a broken string of pearls. Trembling, she took a pregnancy test out of her bag. It showed 2 clear red lines. "Melanie, I'm sorry, I'm terrible," she cried piteously, tears streaming down her face. That day, at the hot spring resort, company dinner, I drank too much. Ryan walked me back to my room. I don't know how it happened. What a cliché scene of drunken indiscretion. I didn't speak, just quietly watched her performance. Then right in front of her, I dialed Ryan's number. "Husband, come to our old spot cafe right now. Chloe is here. Something has happened to her." 20 minutes later, Ryan pushed the door open. When he saw the pregnancy test on the table and the convulsing, crying Chloe, he froze completely, his face instantly turning pale as paper. His lips trembled as he looked at me, his eyes filled with panic, fear, and pleading. "Melanie, listen to me explain. It's not what you think." I ignored him, stood up, walked to Chloe, and held her cold hand. My voice was as light as a feather. "Don't be afraid, Chloe. We are best friends, aren't we? No matter what happens, I will help you." Both Chloe and Ryan were stunned. The breakdown, screaming, and hysteria they had anticipated didn't happen. Their eyes held identical disbelief, followed by the relief of surviving a disaster. I turned to Ryan, a gentle smile on my face. "Husband, the most important thing now is to calm Chloe down and take care of her health, isn't it?" Like a puppet, he nodded subconsciously and helplessly. I looked at these 2 people who were once closest to me, my heart a frozen pool. The actors were in place. The lights and scenery were ready. The grand revenge drama I had personally planned officially began. Late at night, the bedroom was dead silent. Beside me, Ryan lay stiffly, breathing deliberately evenly, pretending to be asleep. I lay with my eyes open, sleepless, letting fragments of memory rampage in the darkness. I remembered back in college, Ryan was a poor boy wearing faded jeans, burying his head in books in the library. I was the one who pursued him. I admired his unyielding spirit. Back then, I even personally set him up with his girlfriend at the time, a junior student from a similarly ordinary background. And Chloe, my best friend, always said to me with a tone of pity mixed with slight contempt, "Melanie, you have such good taste. Ryan is so excellent. It's a pity that girl doesn't deserve him and is dragging him down." Later, they broke up and Ryan was miserable. I accompanied him, encouraged him, and after graduation, used my parents' connections and family savings to support his startup. Our company grew from a small workshop of a few square meters to a well-known design studio in the city. I was the chief designer, the soul of the company, and the biggest investor. Ryan was the general manager, responsible for external contacts and management. As soon as Chloe graduated, I pulled her into the company and made her the administrative director. I treated her like a sister, giving her a salary far higher than the standard level, and held nothing back from her regarding company matters. I naively thought the 3 of us would be an unbreakable iron triangle. Looking back now, that so-called care was all calculated groundwork. For the past year, Chloe had been whispering in my ear, "Melanie, look how tired Ryan is lately. He has dark circles. It's not easy for men to struggle outside. You can't cause trouble for him at home." And Ryan always mentioned at the dinner table, "Chloe manages so many trivial matters in the company alone. It's really hard on her. Take care of her more. Don't let her get too tired." They echoed each other, one playing the understanding confidant, the other the loyal and caring leader. It turned out their care had long bypassed me, the wife and best friend, and converged directly together. How laughable. I pulled myself out of the sting of betrayal, leaving only cold calculation in my heart. I gently turned over and shook the stiff body beside me. "Ryan, are you asleep?" Ryan was startled by me and mumbled a vague response. I turned on the bedside lamp. The dim light illuminated his guilty face. I sat up, leaning against the headboard, my voice terrifyingly calm. I thought about it all night. Ryan swallowed nervously, his body taut as a drawn bow. I think we can't just ruin you like this, nor can we let Chloe be pointed at. More importantly, I don't want my parents to know about this. Their hearts can't take the shock. Every sentence of mine was like a tranquilizer, injected precisely into his panicked nerves. He looked at me, his gaze shifting from fear to confusion, and finally tainted with unbelievable gratitude. I continued to lay out my plan. Let's get a fake divorce first. To protect your reputation, we'll announce to the public that our relationship has broken down and we are parting amicably. The company's shares and the properties under our names will temporarily be transferred to me. This way, you can be forced to take responsibility for Chloe, and it will be easier to explain to your parents. When things with Chloe stabilize, the child is born, and the storm passes, we can... I didn't finish the sentence, but it was enough. Ryan, a typical Phoenix man, a man from a humble background who marries into wealth, cared most about his hard-earned career and the successful image he had painstakingly built. My proposal undoubtedly gave him the perfect way out, allowing him to solve this huge trouble while preserving his reputation and interests. His eyes instantly reddened. He grabbed my hand, his voice choking. "Melanie, why are you so good to me? I'm a bastard. I wronged you. I made a mistake that all men make." He began to confess profusely, saying the person he loved most was always me, and that being with Chloe was just a momentary confusion. Watching his emotional performance, I felt no ripples in my heart, only a bit of nausea. "Stop it," I interrupted him, saying this is useless now. The most important thing is to solve the problem. The next day, I met with Chloe. When I told her about the fake divorce plan, she was first shocked, then burst into tears of gratitude, grabbing my hands and saying she would repay me even if she had to work like a horse or ox in this life. She said she only wanted Ryan and would never covet anything of mine. I watched her hypocritical face, smiling, and even thoughtfully proposed to let her stay in my small apartment in the city center to rest and protect the pregnancy, so it wouldn't be inconvenient for her to live outside. Ryan and Chloe were completely deceived by my righteous operation. To get rid of this hot potato as soon as possible, Ryan almost impatiently signed the property division agreement I had asked a lawyer to draft. The agreement clearly stated, the couple's relationship has broken down and they divorce voluntarily. All marital property, including 100% of the company's equity, 3 properties, and 2 cars, belongs to the woman, Melanie Jong. The man, Ryan Gu, voluntarily gives up all property. On the day of signing, Ryan looked at me with complex eyes, guilt, reluctance, but mostly a sense of relief. He thought this was just a temporary expedient measure to appease me. He didn't know that from the moment he put pen to paper, he had nothing. The procedures were completed quickly. On the day I got the divorce certificate, I personally helped Chloe move into my small apartment. "Chloe, the environment here is good, and it's close to the hospital. Stay here with peace of mind, take good care of the pregnancy, and don't think too much." I helped her put away her suitcase, acting like a true big sister. "Melanie, She was too moved to speak. I patted her shoulder and left with a smile. Before I left, I had already installed pinhole cameras in the living room and bedroom of this apartment. That night, I sat in my study and opened my laptop. The surveillance feed came through clearly. Ryan and Chloe were embracing tightly in the apartment. "Darling, we can finally be together openly." Chloe's voice was full of triumphant joy. "You've suffered," Ryan held her, kissing her forehead. "Once the storm passes, we'll remarry. By then, the company, the house, everything will be ours." "I knew it, Ryan. You love me the most. That woman Melanie is cold and hard like a piece of wood. She doesn't understand you like I do." Expressionless, I watched the ugly faces of the adulterous couple, celebrating their victory on the screen. I picked up my phone and sent a message to my lawyer. Step 1, complete. After moving into the pregnancy care apartment, Chloe quickly revealed her greedy nature. She was no longer the plainly dressed, diligent administrative director in the company, nor the fragile, pitiful, guilt-ridden mistress in front of me. She comfortably became a kept woman. Morning sickness became her best excuse. She stopped going to the company, slept until she woke up naturally every day, and then started ordering Ryan around. Today she wanted dessert from an internet-famous restaurant in the south of the city. Tomorrow she had her eye on the latest designer bag. She swiped Ryan's supplementary card without blinking. I screenshotted and saved the consumption alert messages that flew in like snowflakes one by one. The surveillance cameras faithfully recorded everything about her. She had no morning sickness at all. Every day she chatted energetically on the phone with different friends, boasting about how she got it done in one step and secured Ryan the potential stock. You don't know that fool Melanie still thinks I'm her best friend. She even proposed a fake divorce herself and gave me the house to live in. It's laughably stupid. When the child is born, I'll be Mrs. Goo. By then, the whole company will be mine. Let's see how she acts high and mighty in front of me then. Listening to her piercing laughter through the headphones, I calmly edited and saved these recording clips one by one. These would all be evidence in court. Using the excuse of bad mood after the divorce, I took a long leave from the company and started sorting out Ryan's old belongings at home, calling it completely saying goodbye to the past. Ryan didn't have many things. Most were bought by me. I packed those branded suits, cufflinks, and ties one by one, ready to donate them to charity. In a corner of the study, I dug out a dusty box containing his old college books and a long, obsolete laptop. Impelled by some unknown force, I found the charger and plugged it in. The computer actually turned on. In the old system drive, I found an encrypted folder. Instinct told me there was something inside. I tried several common passwords. Ryan's birthday, my birthday, our wedding anniversary. None were correct. I suddenly remembered a sentence Chloe once mentioned inadvertently. Ryan is really sentimental. He treated his first love in college incredibly well. Relying on memory, I entered the birthday of Ryan's first girlfriend. With a click, the folder unlocked. My heart skipped a beat. I thought I would see some unspeakable love letters or photos, but the contents of the folder made me cold all over. They weren't love letters. Instead, it was a series of email correspondences between him and a foreign medical institution, as well as a scanned copy of his uncle's electronic medical record. The dates of the emails spanned a full 5 years, from when we were dating to after we got married. He was consulting about a disease I had never heard of, Huntington's disease. Trembling, I clicked open the medical record. It clearly stated that his uncle, Gu Jianjun, died 8 years ago from complications of Huntington's disease. At the end of the medical record, a detailed description of the disease was attached. Huntington's disease is an autosomal dominant neurodegenerative disorder. Clinical manifestations include chorea-like involuntary movements, mental abnormalities, and progressive dementia. The most fatal line of words branded itself onto my retina like a red-hot iron. This disease is dominantly inherited. The offspring of patients, regardless of gender, have a 50% risk of developing the disease. My brain buzzed as if thousands of bees were rampaging inside. I instantly understood everything. Ryan didn't want to avoid having children. He didn't dare. He didn't dare to gamble that 50% probability with me. His wife, whom he married properly, planned to spend his life with, and who came from a wealthy family. He was afraid of giving birth to a possibly unhealthy child to tarnish our seemingly perfect life. He was afraid that my family and our future life would be dragged into the abyss by this terrible genetic disease. So he put off preparing for pregnancy again and again. So he chose to cheat with Chloe and made her take contraceptives. Because in his heart, Chloe was just a venting tool he didn't need to be responsible for and could discard at any time. He never thought of having any future with her, let alone letting her give birth to a child who might carry the curse. And me? I, his so-called most loved person, was kept in the dark by him for 8 full years. Using love and protection as a cover, he wove a huge lie, firmly keeping me in his deception. He deprived me of the right to know. He deprived me of the right as a woman and a wife to choose my own life. A sense of betrayal, more violent and disgusting than discovering his affair, instantly swept through my limbs. This wasn't simple cheating. This was a denial and deception of my entire life. I sat on the cold floor, trembling like a fallen leaf in the autumn wind. A bone-chilling cold spread from the soles of my feet to my heart. I thought I married for love. It turned out I was just a prop he used to whitewash his selfish and cowardly life. It took a long time for me to recover from the immense shock and anger. I stood up, walked to the desk, and copied and backed up all the data on the hard drive to an encrypted USB drive. This secret would be the last straw that broke him. A plan, more ruthless and thorough than before, gradually took shape in my mind. What I wanted was not just to ruin his reputation and leave him with nothing. I wanted him to admit his cowardice and selfishness with his own mouth, to pay the most painful price for this fraud against my life. Ryan's parents stormed into our company a week later. The two elderly people came from the countryside, travel-worn with anger at being deceived and determination to seek justice for their son on their faces. They went straight to the general manager's office, but found no one. The company receptionist didn't know them and stopped them from entering, causing a commotion at the door. I came out of the designer's office and heard the noise. My assistant ran over nervously. President Jiang, President Gu's parents are here making a scene at the front desk. Should we call security? No need. I straightened my suit jacket and said calmly, "Invite them to my reception room. I'll receive them personally." The assistant was stunned but did as told. In the reception room, Ryan's mother was ready to curse as soon as she saw me. "You cruel woman, how did my son wrong you? You want to divorce him? And now you kick him out of the company." I didn't wait for her to finish. I acted first, my eyes instantly reddening. I didn't cry, but my eyes revealed just the right amount of grievance, endurance, and immense sorrow. "Mom, Dad." This address stuck all the prepared curses in their throats. "I'm sorry." I lowered my head, my voice hoarse. "It's all my fault. I didn't take good care of Ryan. I let him have too much work pressure, which led to him making a mistake." My self-criticism stunned them. Then I took a folder from my assistant and placed it on the coffee table in front of them. "Mom, Dad, I know it's my uselessness for not being able to give the Gu family a child. Now that Chloe is pregnant with Ryan's child, I can finally put down the burden in my heart. These are some things I sorted out. I intended to find a chance to send them back to you." Ryan's father opened the folder in confusion. Inside wasn't an agreement, but a thick ledger. The first page showed the full set of home appliances I replaced for their hometown home 5 years ago, with receipts neatly attached. The second page showed the red envelopes I gave them during festivals, and the lucky money for Ryan's younger siblings over the years. Every bank transfer record was printed out. The third page detailed how much money and connections I used to get Ryan's disappointing younger brother a job in a state-owned enterprise when he couldn't find work after graduation. Item by item, clearly listed. I didn't say a word about asking them to pay back the money, but I believed these black and white records carried more weight than any words. Ryan's mother's face turned from red to embarrassed. I continued in that aggrieved yet magnanimous tone. "Mom, Dad, I know I haven't done well in many places over the years. In the future, I won't be able to be by your side to be filial to you. It's good that Ryan and Chloe can be together. As long as he is happy, I'm fine with anything. It's just," I changed the subject, worry creeping into my tone. "It's just Ryan's health. I've always been a bit worried. We tried to conceive for so long without success. I always thought it was my problem and went to many hospitals for checks. But they all said I was fine. Now it's good. Chloe got pregnant right away. This shows Ryan is healthy and I'm relieved." My understated words were like a needle, accurately piercing the hearts of the two elderly people. They were traditional people who valued carrying on the family line the most. However, I continued to mention inadvertently, Chloe is also careless. She's pregnant but still wears makeup every day, runs around in high heels and doesn't watch her diet, eating ice and spicy food. Young people, ignorant. I'm really sweating for the child in her belly. Ryan's father's brow was already tightly furrowed. Seeing the timing was about right, I threw the final heavy bomb. By the way, Mom, Dad, the company recently took on a very large project. It's a resource introduced by an old comrade of my father, with very substantial profits. The other party has high requirements, specifying that the project leader must be healthy, energetic, and able to travel for long periods to follow up. I originally thought of letting Ryan be responsible for this project. After all, he is the general manager of the company, and this is the best opportunity for him to prove his ability. I sighed, my face full of regret. Alas, but now he has to take care of the pregnant Chloe. With this mess at home, he probably can't spare the time. I, a woman, can't carry it either. I can only see if I can subcontract this project. What? Ryan's mother stood up abruptly, her voice sharp. Her son's future was her lifeblood. Just then, the door to the reception room was pushed open. Ryan and Chloe, who rushed over after receiving the news, appeared at the door. When they saw the weird scene of me chatting happily with his parents, they instantly panicked. "Mom, Dad, why are you here?" Ryan's voice trembled. His mother ignored him and didn't look at Chloe, who had an ingratiating smile on her face. She pulled her son over, lowered her voice, and questioned urgently in a volume only they could hear. "Tell Mom the truth. Is there anything wrong with your health? Why couldn't you have children before? And what about that big project? How could you delay such a good opportunity because of a woman?" I stood up, wearing a decent smile, and bid farewell to the two elderly people. "Mom, Dad, I still have a meeting, so I won't disturb your family reunion." I passed by the pale-faced Ryan and Chloe, and even smiled at Chloe. "Chloe, take good care of yourself, and take care of Uncle and Auntie." I didn't look back, but I could imagine the chaos behind me. I knew I had personally lit a fire in Ryan's backyard. This fire was enough to burn their beautiful future completely clean. The seed of suspicion I planted quickly took root and sprouted in the Gu family. In the name of taking care of the pregnant daughter-in-law, Ryan's mother righteously moved into that small apartment. A war between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law officially began. The cameras in the apartment became my best window to watch the drama every day. Ryan's mother couldn't stand Chloe's spoiled ways. "You're about to be a mother, yet you sleep until noon every day. When I was pregnant with Ryan, I had to work in the fields with a big belly." "How much is this dress? 3,000? 3,000 for a piece of cloth? You are wasting money." "Don't order takeout every day. The food outside is so unclean. It's bad for my grandson." Chloe wasn't a pushover either. Spoiled by her parents since childhood, she had never suffered such anger. "Mom, what era is this? Women should treat themselves better." "Ryan bought this for me because he wanted to. If you care about money, tell him not to buy it for me." "I can't get used to your cooking. It's too oily." Every day, the two exchanged sharp words. From diet and daily life to spending habits, the war escalated constantly. Ryan was caught in the middle, burned out. On one side was his domineering mother. On the other was the woman carrying his child. Overwhelmed, he called me several times, wanting me to step in and persuade his mother. "Melanie, my mom listens to you. Can you help me talk to her and tell her not to always target Chloe?" I politely refused in a detached and helpless tone. "Ryan, we are divorced. I am now a shareholder of your company and the ex-daughter-in-law in your parents' eyes. It's inappropriate for me to interfere in your family affairs. It will only make things harder for Chloe and make your mom dislike her more." My refusal was reasonable, leaving him no grounds for rebuttal. As the fire at home burned brighter, I wasn't idle at the company either. As the largest shareholder, I convened a full board meeting. Of course, I was the only shareholder on the board now. At the meeting, I officially announced that I would personally lead a special task force to follow up on the big project mentioned earlier. Everyone could see that this was to completely sideline Ryan. Ryan stormed into my office, questioning why I did this. "Melanie Jung, what do you mean? I'm still the general manager of the company." I leaned back in the boss chair, watching his exasperated look with leisure. "Mr. Gu, please watch your language. First, we are divorced. Please call me President Jiang. Second, you are the general manager. Yes, but the legal representative and 100% equity holder of the company is me." I gently pushed the copy of the equity transfer agreement he had signed personally toward him. "Major decisions of the company are made by me. Is there a problem?" He looked at the agreement, his face alternating between red and white, unable to say a word. "You—" He held back for a long time before squeezing out a sentence through his teeth. "You are taking revenge on me." "Revenge?" I smiled. "Ryan, I'm just exercising my legal rights as the owner of the company. If you feel that family matters are busy lately and you lack energy, you can apply for long leave. I approve. The company runs just fine without you." Left speechless by me, he slammed the door and left. Ryan, who had lost his career halo and economic dominance, had even less confidence in front of Chloe and his mother. In the surveillance, their quarrels became more frequent and uglier. "Ryan, are you a man? Your mom is bullying me and you don't even dare to fart," Chloe screamed. "Can you be understanding of me? My company and home are a mess right now. Isn't it all because of you?" Ryan finally exploded. "Because of me? Get it straight. You couldn't control your lower body. Now look, you got me pregnant and almost lost your job, and you have the face to blame me? You are a loser." "Chloe Meng, say that again." The surveillance recorded them, fighting, cups and pillows thrown all over the floor. Chloe's friend gave her an idea. "Chloe, you can't just sit and wait for death. Isn't Ryan's mom just not accepting you? Isn't Ryan just feeling ashamed of his career setback? You have to make a big scene and make it a done deal." "What should I do?" "Throw a grand gender reveal party. Invite all your classmates, colleagues, friends, and relatives. Announce in front of everyone that you are carrying the Gu family's seed. By then, the boat will have sailed. For the sake of face, Ryan will have to marry you grandly. His mom won't be able to say no." Chloe thought this was a brilliant idea. She began to secretly plan this grand forced marriage party, hiding it from the Gu mother and son. She wanted to give me, the Gu family, and everyone who looked down on her a huge surprise. Through the surveillance in the apartment, I saw all her plans clearly. The smile on my lips grew colder. What I was waiting for was this day. This foolish woman was building a magnificent execution ground for herself with her own hands, and I would be the one to press the execution button. Chloe chose the banquet hall of the city's top 5-star hotel as the location for the party. She spared no expense. The entire hall was decorated into a sea of pink and blue, with balloons, ribbons, and flowers, dreamy yet tacky. She sent out invitations widely, inviting college classmates, company colleagues, and all the distant relatives of the Gu family in the city. That night, she wore an expensive, custom-made maternity gown, a diamond necklace sparkling under the lights. Holding the arm of a stiff-faced Ryan who forced a smile, she shuttled among the guests like a proud hostess, accepting sincere or fake blessings. Ryan's parents were also half forced to the main table, their faces looking as if they had swallowed flies. When I arrived, the party was halfway through. I didn't wear an evening gown. I wore a sharply tailored scarlet suit, stepping on 10-centimeter black high heels, my lips red as fire. As soon as I appeared, the noise in the entire banquet hall quieted strangely for a few seconds. Everyone's eyes focused on me. There was sympathy, curiosity, and schadenfreude. Seeing me, the smile on Chloe's face froze instantly. Then she forced a smile and came up to welcome me. Her hand deliberately stroked her slightly bulging lower abdomen. "Melanie, you came. I was afraid you held a grudge and wouldn't come to bless Ryan and me." Her voice wasn't loud, but it was enough for the people around to hear clearly. I smiled, brighter than her. How could I? You are my best friend, and he is my dearest ex-husband. Since you have the crystallization of love, of course, I have to come and offer my sincerest blessings. I specifically emphasized the words, best, dearest, and ex-husband. Chloe's face turned paler. The climax of the party was cutting the cake and announcing the baby's gender. A huge fondant cake was pushed up. The host used a sentimental tone to invite the parents-to-be onto the stage. Then the host looked at me. Today, we also have a special guest. She is Mr. Gu's ex-wife and Miss Meng's best friend, Ms. Melanie Jiang. Let's invite Ms. Melanie Jiang to the stage with warm applause to send her blessings to this couple. All eyes focused on me again. Of course, this was Chloe's arrangement. She wanted to use my generosity and blessing on such an occasion to highlight her victory and humiliate me. I walked onto the stage calmly and took the microphone from the host. I looked at Chloe's triumphant face, Ryan's ashamed face, and his parents' livid faces below the stage. I smiled. I am very honored to stand here today. As Chloe's best friend, seeing her about to have her own baby, I am sincerely happy for her. So I did prepare a special gift for her. I paused, my gaze sweeping across the room. A gift about life and honesty. I winked at my assistant off stage. The huge LED screen in the center of the banquet hall instantly lit up. What appeared on the screen wasn't a blessing video or sweet memories of the couple. It was a surveillance recording. In the picture, Chloe was applying a face mask in the living room of my apartment while talking on the phone with her friend. Her voice, through the hotel's top-tier sound system, spread clearly throughout the hall. You don't know that fool Melanie still thinks I'm her best friend. Laughably stupid. Isn't that Phoenix man Ryan just after her family's money? Once I give birth to the child and secure my position as Mrs. Gu, the first thing I'll do is kick her out of the company. Does she really think I care about being her best friend? I just can't stand her high and mighty look. Why should she have everything? I want to take everything from her. The whole venue instantly fell into a dead silence. Then came an uproar that blew the roof off. Everyone stared dumbfounded at the screen, then at Chloe and Ryan on stage, whose faces instantly turned liver-colored. Ryan's mother trembled with anger, pointing at Chloe, her lips quivering, unable to speak. "Turn it off! Turn it off quickly!" Chloe finally reacted, let out a shrill scream, and rushed madly to unplug the power. But it was too late. This forced marriage drama she meticulously directed turned into a public execution the moment I pressed the play button. Her hypocrisy, viciousness, and greed were displayed nakedly in front of everyone in the cruelest and most public way. It's fake! She faked it! Melanie Jiang, you poisonous woman! You're jealous of me! Disheveled, Chloe pointed at me, screaming hoarsely, trying to garner the last bit of sympathy. Guests whispered among themselves, their eyes filled with contempt and the excitement of watching a drama. I looked at her coldly, like watching a clown. Faked? Is this recording also faked by me? I held up my phone and pressed play. The second gift made its appearance. It was a private detective I hired, posing as a psychologist conducting psychological counseling for Ryan over the phone. Ryan's voice, clear and desperate, came from the speakers. The pressure is too great. I dare not have a child with Melanie at all. My family has a history of genetic disease, Huntington's disease. My uncle died of this. I'm afraid the child won't be healthy. How can I face Melanie? How can I face her whole family? I'm a liar. I lied to her. With Chloe, I was really just confused for a moment. I never thought about a future with her, so I made her take pills. I didn't expect her to get pregnant. The recording was long. I only excerpted the most critical parts. But these parts were enough. If the previous video tore off Chloe's mask, then this recording completely destroyed Ryan's persona. The venue fell into a dead silence again. All looks of contempt, disgust, and disbelief shot towards Ryan on the stage. He was no longer the inspiring young man who started from scratch, nor the man who made a mistake but deserved sympathy. He became a cowardly, selfish liar, full of deceit, a complete scumbag who deceived his wife's feelings, deprived her of her reproductive rights, and treated another woman as a venting tool for his own face and so-called stability. Ah! A scream came from the main table. After listening to the recording, Ryan's mother rolled her eyes and fainted straight from her chair. Ryan's father also slumped in his chair, his face ashen, looking as if he had aged 10 years in an instant. The entire scene spiraled out of control. "Melanie Jong, you ruined me! You ruined me!" Ryan finally broke down from extreme shock and shame. His eyes red like a beast cornered, he roared and charged at me. Chloe beside him instinctively tried to pull him back but was shoved away hard by the completely crazed Ryan. "Get away, you slut!" Chloe was wearing high heels and was unstable. Pushed like that, she fell backward, her high bulging belly hitting heavily against the sharp metal corner of the heavy cake cart behind her. "Ah!" A scream more shrill than before pierced the entire banquet hall. Everyone watched in horror as bright red blood quickly seeped out from under Chloe's expensive white gown, spreading rapidly, shocking to the eye. Standing amidst the chaos and screams, I watched all this indifferently. I took out my phone and calmly dialed 120. My tone was as calm as discussing today's weather. "Hello, is this the emergency center? Crown Plaza Hotel Banquet Hall. Someone needs emergency help here. Yes, a pregnant woman, heavy bleeding." Hanging up the phone, I looked at Chloe moaning in pain in a pool of blood, at Ryan holding his head and roaring in breakdown, at the guests in disarray. I knew this wasn't the end. This was just the prelude to destruction. The real judgment was just beginning. The hospital emergency corridor was bathed in cold, stark white light. Ryan and his parents, who had just woken up, guarded the operating room door dejectedly like 3 defeated roosters. The light of the operating room went out. The doctor walked out, took off his mask, looking tired and regretful. "Sorry, we tried our best. The patient lost too much blood. The child couldn't be saved." Ryan's mother collapsed on the spot, beating her chest and stomping her feet, wailing to the heavens. "My grandson! My unborn grandson! What a sin!" Ryan leaned against the wall, pale-faced, eyes empty. Just then, a nurse hurried out holding a report, looking puzzled. "Excuse me, who is Chloe Meng's family?" Ryan looked up subconsciously. The nurse looked at him, then at the paper in her hand, frowning. "It's like this. The patient's blood type is AB, but on the emergency form just now, the husband listed in the family column, Mr. Ryan Gu, has blood type O registered." The nurse didn't finish, but her eyes explained everything. The entire corridor was instantly quiet enough to hear Ryan's mother gasp. Ryan was stunned. Although not a medical major, he had basic biological knowledge. An AB blood type mother and an O blood type father could absolutely not produce an AB blood type child. In an instant, humiliation, anger, absurdity, all emotions erupted like a volcano, swallowing his last bit of reason. He pushed open the operating room door like a madman and rushed in. "Chloe Meng! Tell me, whose child is it?" From the ward came Chloe's weak and terrified crying and Ryan's furious roar. It was at this moment that I appeared at the end of the corridor with my lawyer. Stepping on high heels, I walked calmly to Ryan step by step. He looked at me as if seeing a ghost, his eyes filled with bloodshot veins and despair. I ignored him and handed 2 documents to him. One was the Notice of Termination of Labor Contract, stamped with the company seal. The other was the Asset Delivery Confirmation, signed during our divorce. My voice wasn't loud, but like a cold hammer, it struck his heart, word by word. Mr. Ryan Gu, according to the divorce agreement we signed earlier, 100% of the equity of Fenghua Design Compagnie Limited, as well as all properties and vehicles under our names, belong to me personally. Now, as the legal representative of the company, I formally notify you. due to your personal behavior causing irreparable serious damage to the company's reputation. According to the labor contract law and the company's articles of association, the company has decided to terminate the labor contract with you effective immediately." I paused, looking at his face, which instantly lost all color, and continued, "Your car was a company car assigned during your tenure as general manager. The large flat you live in now is my premarital property. According to regulations, you have 3 days to move out and return all company property. In other words, you leave with nothing." Ryan looked at me in disbelief, shaking like a sieve. His lips moved, wanting to say something, but no sound came out. I leaned down close to his ear and whispered in a voice only we two could hear, "Ryan, from the moment I found the box of contraceptives you hid, you were already out." At this moment, I saw a complete destructive collapse in those eyes that once fascinated me immensely. He lost. He lost utterly and completely, left with nothing. Chloe's ending was even more miserable than I imagined. The child was gone. The dream of marrying into wealth shattered, and she became the biggest laughingstock of the city. After learning the child wasn't Ryan's, the Gu family had no pity for her. As soon as she was discharged, Ryan's mother pushed and shoved her out of that small apartment, not even letting her take a change of clothes. I later learned that the biological father of the child was a dubious, rich second generation she met at a bar. After a one-night stand, the guy had long vanished without a trace. Penniless and reputation ruined, Chloe wandered the streets like a stray dog for 2 days. She blamed all her resentment on me. Yes, if not for me, she would already be the glorious Mrs. Gu. She rushed downstairs to our company, crying and shouting like a madwoman, wanting to see me and fight me. "Melanie Jiang, you bitch, come out! You ruined everything of mine. I'll kill you!" I stood in front of the huge floor-to-ceiling window of the top-floor office, looking down at the woman rolling on the ground and acting crazy. She looked so small, so laughable, like looking at a stranger who had nothing to do with me. Security stopped her. The scene was very ugly. I called my assistant. "Go down and handle it. Don't affect the company's image." A few minutes later, my assistant walked up to Chloe carrying a craft paper bag. In front of the onlookers, the assistant handed the bag to her. "Miss Meng, President Zhang asked me to tell you." The assistant's voice wasn't loud, but filled with professional coldness. "President Zhang says this is the funeral gift for your 10-year friendship, and also the last dignity she gives you as a former best friend. The money isn't much, enough for you to buy a ticket back to your hometown and find a place to start over." Chloe stared blankly at the paper bag, opened it, and saw a thick stack of cash. Looking at the money, she suddenly laughed and cried, tears and snot covering her face. "Funeral gift, ha ha ha! 10 years of friendship, funeral gift!" She laughed and cried maniacally, and finally, clutching the bag, stumbled and disappeared into the crowd. Since then, I never saw her in this city again. I heard she really took the money and went back to her hometown in a remote, small county. Returning to my desk, I opened my phone and found Chloe's contact. Looking at the once familiar profile picture, the smiling face we took together during a trip, without hesitation, I pressed the delete button. Deleted along with it was the unbearable past of betrayal and disappointment. She and I were worlds apart, never to intersect again, without a company, without a house, without money. Ryan's life fell from the clouds into the mud overnight. Burdened with the stains of cheating, marriage fraud, and family genetic history, he couldn't survive in this industry anymore. No decent company was willing to hire him. Finally, he could only work as a bottom-level salesperson in an obscure small decoration company, bowing and scraping every day, suffering disdain. Only after truly losing everything did he start to miss the things he once had but didn't cherish. He began calling and messaging me frequently. At first it was cursing, then begging, and finally, endless repentance. That night I was working overtime at the company. Somehow, he found out and actually came to the company building. He blocked me next to my parking spot in the underground garage. Not seeing him for a few months, he seemed to have aged 10 years. The once crisp suit was replaced by cheap, casual clothes, his face unshaven and haggard, eyes full of fatigue and depression. Seeing me, he rushed up, squeezing out a smile uglier than crying. "Melanie." I stopped and looked at him coldly. "Something the matter?" "Melanie, I know I was wrong. I really know I was wrong." He spoke urgently, his voice pleading. "Please forgive me, okay? The person I always loved in my heart is you, really. With Chloe, I was just possessed. I just made a mistake." He brought up that damn genetic disease again. "I hid it from you really for your own good, to protect you. I didn't want you to bear that pain with me. Protect?" I finally couldn't hold back and laughed out loud. That laughter sounded exceptionally harsh and cold in the empty underground garage. I interrupted his self-moving monologue. "Ryan, your so-called protection is using a lie to keep me like a fool and then comfortably enjoying everything I and my family brought you? Your so-called protection is depriving me of the right as a woman to know the truth, the right to choose my own life, even the right to be a mother?" My voice wasn't loud, but every word was like a sharp knife, cutting his hypocritical rhetoric to pieces. "Stop deceiving yourself. You don't love me. You love the version of yourself that can escape the poverty of your original family, satisfy your fragile self-esteem, and rise rapidly. Your betrayal of me didn't start the moment you slept with Chloe, but from 8 years ago when you decided to hide that secret from me, it had already begun." He was rendered speechless by my questioning, his face pale. I looked at him, no longer with love in my eyes, not even much hate left, only a disdain that saw through everything. "I never thought of taking your life. I just took back what belonged to me." After speaking, I opened the car door, ready to get in. "Melanie!" He suddenly knelt before me with a thud, hugging my legs tightly. A man in his 30s, crying like a child in front of me. "Please, give me another chance. Let's start over, okay? I swear, I will definitely—" I frowned in disgust, trying hard to pull my leg out. "Ryan, you make me sick." I shook him off, got into the car, and locked the door. I didn't look at him again, stepped on the gas, and left the man kneeling and crying on the ground far behind. In the rearview mirror, his figure became smaller and smaller, finally turning into a blurred black dot. Between us, apart from those cold legal documents, there was no longer any connection.